Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. This is episode number 162. Yes, 162. We're still climbing up the imaginary ladder to somewhere. I'm grateful to each and every one of you that tunes in every week. We have a very large and supportive global audience. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you can be kept updated about future podcasts and video productions from the Hare Krishna Project. And or if you're watching this on Facebook, if you haven't already, please do like or follow the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page so you can be kept updated that way as well. Okay, episode 162. I always feel very honored and blessed when we have a sannyasi as a guest. And every now and then I love to invite sannyasis on the podcast. And I'm delighted to be able to welcome our special guest this week. It's His Holiness, Bhaktivedanta Suddhadvaiti Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, I'm honored to be your guest today.
Dandavats, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you giving up your time. I can tell from your social media activities you travel a lot, which is great, just like traditionally like sannyasis should be doing, and sharing the knowledge, sharing that spiritual wisdom with people all over the world.
That's really the only thing a guru asks his followers, his disciples, that you practice yourself, but don't keep it for yourself, share it with others.
Sharing. Wonderful. Okay. And hopefully you're going to share some knowledge with us today as well. Okay, Maharaj. So the first question is the question that every guest gets just to warm us up. So please tell us a little bit about you and where you are from.
Oh, I have a French body. I'm a spirit soul like you, but I have a French body. And then I was born in Algeria. My father was killed at the beginning of the Algerian Independence War, so we came back to France. And then I was raised by the Jesuits and the Catholic faith. Then when I had some questions that no one could answer, then I turned east and I started to practice yoga when I was 14. Traveled to India when I was 19. Followed the Buddhist path for a while because it had given me answers, karma and reincarnation. But no, I could say Buddhism touched my intellect, not my heart. So I thought it was like coming to like a dead hand. Then for a while when I was in India, I was with the guru of the famous Yogananda, that they call Paramahamsa, the famous author of Autobiography of a Yogi. I stayed a few months in his ashram in Jagannath Puri, which is my big shame, to be in Jagannath Puri, to chant Hare Krishna, but having no knowledge whatsoever about who was Krishna, who was Jagannath, and who was Mahaprabhu. And when he started to say one day during guided meditation that we don't have to worship the Supreme, we are the Supreme, you don't need to bow down to anyone. I thought, well, I don't think I'm the Supreme, so I guess that was a mishap. Now, in France, we used to say at that time, my generation, first time you go to India, you get cheated either by hashish or by false gurus. And I thought, well, maybe second category. Then when I came back to France, I came to England. I flew back from India to England in early 73. And I still had this question about karma. My point was, okay, if I don't do any nonsense anymore, I won't accumulate more karma. But what about the previous one? So I had this kind of hang-up about karma. And then it happened that every day I was going in Oxford Street and I would see the devotees chanting. And I was thinking, maybe they have the answer. And then I decided, okay, this Sunday I'm going to go to their Sunday program. I received many invitations. And then that Saturday evening, one girl came and she was like really crazy. And she said, yeah, I just went to the Hare Krishna temple. Wonderful. And I was thinking, is this the kind of people they attract? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll pass. And then I went, no, I decided, okay, let me go back to France. And then again, I met the devotees in France. I was praying. I remember praying, my dear Lord, I don't even know anymore if you exist or not, because I had a mixture of, Christianities and Buddhism, impersonal yoga, like a mishmash. And then I was not anymore, sure of, I was believed in God originally, but then I was not sure anymore. And I remember praying. I said, please give me a sign. And then the amazing thing, when I came to France, I just came out from the train, and right there on the platform, there was a devotee lady distributing magazines. And some guy was harassing her, so I chased the guy away. I asked her what she was doing. So we distributed those magazines. I bought one. Train station, went to see my mother in Britain, no, French Britain. And then last time she saw me, I was telling her about Buddhism, and she's Catholic from top to bottom. And this time I was speaking to her about Krishna. So it didn't fly very high with her. And I said, Mom, okay, I don't want to disturb you. I'll go back to India. But you just came back from India. I said, yeah, Mom, but no, what's the point? We're just going to be arguing and it's useless. So I went back to Paris now to prepare another trip to India. And then in the underground, next to the map, I saw who is going to introduce Maharaj. At that time, he was not a sannyasi. And then my mind, when I saw him, my mind told me, don't go next to that guy, otherwise your independence is finished. And behind it was a voice of my intelligence who told me, anyway, in 3 days, you'll be like him. So I'm from the country, I don't know Paris. I needed to go to the map to check, but I was thinking, but that guy is there. So I waited 20 minutes. Then I saw later on, I found out it was his Sankirtan spot. That's why he was, distributing magazines. So finally, I tried to, come near without, looking special. I forgot how I was dressed. I was wearing a purple, dhoti, a lungi, orange kurta, rudraksha beads, and shaved head. I mean, the ideal target, right? So he did not even try to sell me a magazine. He asked me if I spoke English. I said yes, and he told me, gave me an invitation, and he said, we have a Hindu temple. Imagine, we never say we're Hindus, but he thought maybe that's the way to catch that guy. So we have a Hindu temple, gave me the invitation, okay, put it in my pocket, thank you, check the map to go to the Indian embassy to get my new visa. And then when I went back to the evening to my grandmother, I checked the map. I said, that was 2 blocks away from my grandma. So next morning, I didn't wait till the afternoon. No, it was supposed to be at 4 o'clock, like the program. Right in the morning, at 7 o'clock, I was banging on the temple door. And the same devotee who had sold me that magazine in the train station, she opened the door, and I came and I said, well, I came to chant and pray with you. And then they introduced me to the temple. It was arti time. Since I was coming back from India, I was accustomed to bow down in the temple. So I bowed down and I knew the Krishna mantra. So I started to sing along. And at that time, the preaching mood was so thick. I mean, everyone was living for preaching. So as soon as the arti was finished, I was taken upstairs for breakfast, and then there were like 5 devotees that were trying to preach to me. And finally, one American devotee, Guru Gauranga, later on, I was with him for 4 years in Switzerland. He was my president. He spoke to me for 3 days. He pulled out all the mishmash. I had all those Buddhist impersonal, things. And then after 3 days, he introduced me to Bhagavan, who was at that time the local president, Bhaktivedanta, who became a guru later on. And they said, well, it looks like you're serious. Why don't you join us? And that's how I became a devotee in May 73.
Wow. Thank you, Maharaj. So May 1973, and over 50 years of
Yeah, Krishna's grace. Yeah.
yeah.
All my adult life, I can say I was, as a devotee, trying to be a devotee.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I was quite intrigued to hear that you went to India originally, but you didn't find what you were looking for.
Uh-huh.
And then you went to London, kind of met the kind of the devotees, but it wasn't until you were in France that you actually, you know,
Yeah,
discovered Krishna consciousness in a kind of intimate, personal way.
yeah. I saw Prabhupada in Bombay from far. When I landed, from France to India, I just arrived in Bombay. And then I remember in Cross Maiden, that was, I think, 72. From far, I remember there was a big pandal, big program, and there was this Vyasasan and Prabhupada sitting there. I didn't come near, but I remember seeing there. And there was a question and answer booth. And then the devotees were there, and then they asked me questions. And then later on, I found out, and one of them was Giriraj Maharaj. When I became a devotee, I recognized, oh, that was one of the devotees who spoke to me. I was not ready at that time. I was on a Buddhist trip. I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to become a Catholic priest as I was thinking, but because Buddhism gave me answers, karma and reincarnation, to explain the disparity between people's destiny. Because I was studying to become a Catholic priest in a seminar when I was 15. And I remember coming back one evening and then seeing those terrible pictures of children, starving in the Biafra War. Part of Nigeria wanted to secede, so they made the blockades, and you had those. That was 68 terrible pictures. And then I thought, I'm also a kid. I had a good breakfast, a good lunch. Mom is cooking the dinner. I'm eating some crumpets in front of the TV. And then why those kids didn't eat anything? What is why? So I asked my mother. She said, "Well, that's evil in the world." And I said, "Mom, what evil those babies have done?" She said, "Look, I'm a woman of simple faith. Just go ask the priest." So I went to the church, asked the local priest. He said, "Don't you remember? I taught you, in the Sunday school, about the fall of Adam and Eve and the original sin that we share." And I said, "Father, it doesn't make sense. Why I share? I was born with a silver spoon in the hand, in the mouth, old French aristocracy, and they're born, in Africa, dying." So he said, "Look, son, nobody ever asked me this type of question. I can't answer you." And then when I went back to the seminar, I asked my theology teacher, and he couldn't answer either. My only hope was a bishop. He was coming once a year. If you got good marks, you could get an interview. I was a good student, so I had an interview with him. I remember he gave me like a big ring to kiss, usual style, in the French, Catholic Church. And when I asked him the question, he became angry. He became really, really upset. He said, "Don't you know God's designs are unfathomable? You want to understand everything." "No, Your Excellency, I'm just trying to understand." "You cannot understand." He completely broke my faith. I thought, I cannot go up to the Pope, right? I'm lucky to speak to the bishop. That's like the highest rank, I guess, I can approach. There's one cardinal in France. I don't think I can approach him. What to speak of the Pope? So I came back, and then I was like completely, smashed in my, I always thought I would be a priest. But and then I started to read it became like, it became so bad because that was my path in life to become a priest, right? And that I had joint rheumatism. I was blocked in my path. It became like psychosomatic. And while I was, doing correspondence course, because I couldn't walk anymore, I was reading, so many books of the family library. And I found one book on yoga, which spoke about karma and reincarnation. Bingo! Here it is. That's the solution. And then, because it was a book, with kind of Buddhist, philosophy, I thought, well, maybe I'll become a Buddhist monk. That's when I came to India, I decided to be a Buddhist monk. That's
Thank you, Maharaj. And over the decades, I don't want to keep emphasizing it's 50 years, but over the decades, you've been very fortunate to take shelter and to receive the blessings of some very important personalities, such as highly elevated spiritual personalities, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. I mean, what a, you must have had so many positive experiences with those teachers, those spiritual guides over the years. Um, can you tell us a bit about some of your encounters with those three
Mhm.
gurus? You know,
So when
what
I
did
came,
each of them teach you something important?
so when I joined, that was end of April or beginning of May 73. Then Srila Prabhupada came in July or August. No. And I remember, in the temple, there used to be, Lord Jagannath deities. And then I accepted, out of faith that that was God. But I remember praying to them and thinking, my Lord, is it really all you look like? No, because for us, it looks like some, Amerindian totem, right? And I was thinking, really? Okay, but Prabhupada said like that, so it must be, but really, my Lord, do you really look like that? And I remember everyone was chanting their rounds in front of the deities. We used to do that with the open curtain at that time. But at the bottom of the temple, at the back, there was like a banister, going, with the stairways going upstairs. And there was a little, portrait of Krishna there. And I used to chant my round looking at that form of God. And when Prabhupada came and installed Radha Krishna deities, in the lecture, he said, the form of Lord Jagannath is not very beautiful. No. And I thought, okay, thanks. I didn't make any offense. And Prabhupada said something very amazing. He said, Krishna has come to meet the most beautiful of all Parisian girls, Srimati Radharani. And he told us, you boys, when you see a beautiful girl in the street, don't think to enjoy her. Bring her to the temple. Krishna will dance with her. And I remember when I first saw Prabhupada, when he came at the door, I still have a picture, someone took of Prabhupada, and I'm just behind her with folded hands. I saw, because I was still reasoning in terms of yoga, so it's a mountain of power. But then when he sat on the Vyasasan and he started to speak, I felt not just a mountain of power, a mountain of compassion. He was repeating so patiently, day after day, simple, basic thing that we're not the body, we eternal spirit soul, so soul doesn't die when the body dies. Quoting always second chapter of Gita verses. And I thought this person is just a mountain of compassion. And later on, it became love, mountain of love. I developed that relationship. And then from Prabhupada, I remember one time he said, if I see in someone just a small desire to serve, I can fan it, to make it a fire. And then from that, I always try to, do that with people. Anyone I see who has some attraction, try to bring him along, not to impose upon him the four regulative principles as soon as he comes, because then so many people will think, okay, philosophy is great, it's not for me. So try to present always the nice aspect of Krishna consciousness, because there's the two sides, right? If you take the Vedanta Sutra, for instance, at the beginning, it just shoots with red bullets on material attachments and Mayavad. But then it doesn't leave you, hang and dry, high and dry. No, it gives you the beautiful aspect of Krishna, the wonderful aspect of Krishna consciousness. So when I preach, I always try to emphasize that. I always also speak material life, sucks, and it's not the place to be happy. But always try to present how wonderful is Krishna and Krishna consciousness. This is what I got, I think, from Prabhupada the most. And this idea of, just dedicate, your life for preaching. Because, we were young. I was, when I saw Prabhupada, I was not even 20. I turned 20 a few days after, or the months after that. So that idea of just dedicate, Prabhupada was saying, just dedicate this one life to Krishna. And then I heard that as a young man, and I tried to do that the best I could, with all my shortcomings and idiosyncrasies. And then Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj, I saw him the first time. Actually, I saw him when he took sannyas in 75, but I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it was him. I remember, I went for the inauguration of the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. And then, on that day, Prabhupada gave sannyas to Tripurari Maharaj and then to Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. And I remember, seeing him taking sannyas, but it's only, in 85, like 10 years later, that he came to France, because Hare Vilas, who was the first president in France, he was not in good terms with Bhagavan. They were always in conflict. But he was the head of the Spiritual Sky project in France, and he was doing pretty well. So instead of giving money to the French temple, he would give money to all the poor countries, like in Latin America or in India, to print books. And he had given a donation to Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj to print the first book in Uriya. So that year, the GBC had said, we think that the GBCs have too much of a zonal vision. They should develop a world vision. And somebody in the GBC meeting said, what about Gour Govinda Maharaj in his hall in Bhubaneswar? Do you think he has a world vision? And somebody said, don't worry about his vision. He doesn't even see this world. And then Bhagavan at that time said, I'll show him the world. So Bhagavan invited him to come to France. And then, so he was welcome at the Paris temple. They put a new boy in charge of him. And he asked, I want to go to Hare Vilas' house, to thank him for his donation in person. At that time, we were fed up of Bhagavan's antics, as a King Bhagavan. And we wanted to get, to remain in ISKCON, but we wanted another GBC. So we were petitioning the GBC. And I had made like a big, agitation in France. So Hare Vilas' house was the headquarters of the rebellion. And then I was in a factory, typing the manifesto of the revolution for the GBC. I ran out of ink. I didn't know where was the ink. So I came back in the house and I saw Gour Govinda Maharaj was sitting, and there was like all the revolutionaries, maybe 30, 40 people were there listening to the class. And I just caught the last 10 minutes. And I was thinking, if this doesn't work out, that thing with the GBC, I'll go to Srila Maharaj. I had some friends already who were there. And I thought, if this doesn't fly with the GBC, I'm out. I'm not going to keep on working under the autocrat, Bhagavan in France. And then I thought Gour Govinda was from the Gaudiya Math. So I only caught the last 10 minutes of the class. I asked one question. I was very satisfied with the answer. And I thought, okay, Gaudiya Math, great. If that doesn't work, I'm joining Gaudiya Math. And then at the end of the class, I asked Hare Vilas, my godbrother, so who is this Gaudiya Math sannyasi? He says, no, he's not Gaudiya Math, he's ISKCON. He's our godbrother. He's Gour Govinda Maharaj. I said, all right. And I thought in my mind, as long as we have one sadhu like that in ISKCON, I don't have to go. And I remained in ISKCON for him, actually, until he left. He left in 96, and I left in 96 and joined Srila Narayana Maharaj at that time. Because I had lost faith in the ISKCON leadership. I saw so much politics against Gour Govinda Maharaj, and I could not trust anymore the leadership. So I met him that time. There was only one lecture he gave. The next day I saw him in New Mayapur, because I went to try to recruit some members for the revolution. And then when I saw him, he was just chanting his run in front of the guest house like that. Nobody was taking care of him. I went to New Vrindavan for the big meeting where there was a kind of a guru reform, some sort of guru reform, which was more or less more cosmetic than deep, actually. because they just silenced all the revolutionaries by making them gurus themselves. So, and then again, I saw Gour Govinda Maharaj in Mayapur, 86. And I was very impressed by him. And he came again to France that year. And then when he came, I asked him to accept me as a Siksha disciple. So I took Siksha from him from 86 to 96, like that.
Hmm.
And I was going with the whole family. I had a large family. I had 5 kids. So every year, we would go and spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in Bhubaneswar with him, like that. So I have very, although I am Prabhupada disciple, he's like my main guru in one sense because I had the most association with him. He personally taught me so many of our Siddhantas, Guru Tattva, Jiva Tattva. So I am eternally indebted to his divine grace, Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj.
Thank you for sharing that, Maharaj. I went to Bhubaneswar in maybe 2013 or 2014, and I in this life I never met Gour Govinda Maharaj, but I certainly felt his presence when I was at in the Bhubaneswar temple. It's certainly a very special place, and I remember sitting in his Bhajan Kutir and his samadhi, and the whole experience of being there. I could feel why people were attracted to Gour Govinda Maharaj. And in my own research over the last couple of years, I've identified that there was this kind of strong link, or this very close relationship between Gour Govinda Maharaj and others like Srila Narayana Maharaj.
They met one time in Jagannath Puri. Srila Govinda came to see him one time. And Srila Narayana recalls the meeting.
I think one thing I've recognized that a lot of followers of Narayana Maharaj have also taken shelter of Gour Govinda Maharaj and vice versa. There's a connection there.
Yes, if you look at the number of sannyasis of Srila Narayana Maharaj, many of the Westerners actually come from the Bhubaneswar school. Like, quite a few, they came from there, Because Gour Govinda Maharaj was giving like those amazing lectures, he would start with a 2-hour lecture in the local language, Uriya, but he wanted us to attend, saying that even if we didn't understand, Shabda Brahma was working. And then afterward, he would speak like 2.5 hours in English. So the whole morning was amazing. Then when he would finish, he'd stand up and turn to me and, okay, throw some topic on the floor. And I would ask some question. And there would be another maybe half an hour, from the moment he would get up from his asana and then going down the stairs, sometimes stopping on the stairs, answering a question, then sitting in front of his hut in his armchair, another 10, 15 minutes, then saying, oh, please excuse me, and coming inside his hut. And then we would just spend the day talking about the lecture, right? And in the evening, he would give Darshan again. And he would be teaching like a pretty deep, Vaishnava Siddhanta that I never heard before, in ISKCON. I remember when he left, and then I was thinking, okay, Prabhupada said, if you have questions, you may approach Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but he was already gone in 88. You can also approach Srila Narayana Maharaj. So I thought, okay, let me approach Srila Narayana Maharaj. We asked Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj, is it okay to go and listen to Srila Narayana Maharaj? And he gave this very amazing answer. He said, from the institutional point of view, it's not good. Because to run a society, you need some discipline. And if the leaders are going, it sends a message that they don't know the Siddhanta, and they think nobody knows it in ISKCON. From that point of view, it's not good. From the spiritual point of view, paramartic point of view, as he said, there's no problem because he's a Mahabhagavat. So he gave us this double answer. From the society point of view, not so good. From the transcendental point of view, no problem because he's such an exalted soul.
And Maharaj, that leads us nicely on to talking about Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. Can you tell us a bit about him in terms of your relationship with him, your encounters with him, and how that kind of that when he was physically present, how that relationship developed and evolved.
Well, as soon as we put Srila Gour Govinda in Samadhi, in his bhajan kuti, as soon as we got the news that he left, we broke the marble floor of his bhajan kuti, thinking we will put him in Samadhi there before the GBC doesn't allow it. So we just, as soon as the news came, we started to break the floor and then made a big pit. And then next day, his transcendental body arrived by car. There was no rigor mortis. He was still very supple, although he left the day before in Mayapur. And they traveled all the way from Mayapur to Puri, which is maybe 15 hours. I have no idea, but quite a long journey. But there was no rigor mortis. His body was very loose like that. And right after we put him in Samadhi, I just jumped on the train, told the wife, sell everything in the house. We're going. And then I just went straight to Mathura to see Srila Narayana Maharaj. Just before that, one lady that I knew from America when I was 4 years in Texas, she was just coming from Srila Narayana Maharaj from Mathura. And then I had just written in my journal, okay, Srila Gurudev, because we always call the Gurudev, whether it's siksha or diksha. Srila Gurudev just left, and Srila Narayana Maharaj will start this year for the first time to travel abroad. Is this a coincidence? And I put a big question mark. And then when I spoke to her she said, this is very strange. I just come from Mathura. And then he said that I have made a vow not to accept any disciple and not to leave India. But Swami Maharaj, this is the name they call Prabhupada in Gaudiya Math. Srila Swami Maharaj, your Prabhupada, sometimes he would say, doesn't approve of my vow and he's dragging me out of India. He said, because now that Srila Gour Govinda is left, there's no one qualified to give the proper Siddhanta. Therefore, he doesn't approve of my decision and is dragging me out. And I said, wow. Now, when I heard that, and that reinforced my idea, okay, I'm going to Srila Narayana Maharaj. And when I came to Mathura, he was in a small room with a few devotees. And then he was literally glowing. I mean, and this atmosphere that only the top level gurus are able to create, that was like permeating the whole atmosphere in the Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. He was sitting very simple on his bed, and the room was full of devotees. And then, but still, I had been like everyone in ISKCON vaccinated with boosters against Gaudiya Math, all my life, right? And although I had seen so many times the temples in Mayapur, Yoga Pit, when I came to the temple, I said, wow, everything is so different in Gaudiya Math. They don't have Gaur Nitai, they have only Gauranga next to Radha Krishna, which is a typical, worship, set, you have Radha Krishna and Gauranga, but no Gaur Nitai. And there was another Gauranga. Later on, I found out it was the Gauranga that Prabhupada wanted to install in Jhansi when he opened his League of Devotees. But somehow it didn't work out, and he brought it, and it's been worshipped ever since on the Advaita Mathura. I said, 2 Gaurangas, no Nitai. This is very strange. And Narayana Maharaj took a pair of kantars and started to sing. And then he cut the mantra, Hare Krishna mantra in 2. And I had never heard that before. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh my God, even the mantras, they don't sing it like us. Wow, this is so different. And after a couple of mantras, he put down the kantars, and then he looked at me from the corner of his eye, and he started to say, some people, they like to eat mango all at one go. Put the whole mango in their mouths. Very nice, very sweet. Some others, they prefer to cut it in pieces and eat it. Same taste, same sweetness. In the same way, some people, they like to sing the Hare Krishna mantra at one go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And some, they prefer to cut it in the middle. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then Hare Ram. Same sweetness, same mantra. And I was thinking, the only person I know which could read my mind like an open book was Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. So that gave me a lot of faith. this person is able to read in my mind, because Govinda was amazing like that. He could, you could be thinking of something during the class, and then he would just stop the class and tell you what was in your mind. Just amazing. One time I was thinking, who's crazy enough like me to come to Bhubaneswar with 5 children, one still being nursed by his mother, a little girl still in Pampers, and then I'm making myself believe that I want more mercy, I want special mercy. I was thinking, you have a beautiful wife. Why don't you just go back to your house? I had a big, nice estate in South France with 32 hectares, rolling hills, and each kid had a horse. I thought, what you're doing here, making yourself believe, you want more. And Srila Gour Govinda, he had an expression for sense gratification. He used to call it eating stool and enjoy it. So as I was thinking like that in my mind, he just stopped the class and he told me, so eating stool in your mind and enjoy it? Can you share with us? It tastes good? I mean, he could read your mind like an open book. Just amazing, amazing. Actually, when I accepted Siksha from him, I was praying to Krishna, please, I don't want to paint this person perfect. I really want, I need a siksa-guru. I need someone to help me. And then I was praying, as sincerely, as deeply as I could, in silence, of course. And he was next to me, and he was saying, yes, what you're asking, Krishna is giving. Don't be desperate, take. And I was thinking, this verse which says that, Paramatma inside the heart appears outside, as a sadhu, is making me realize. And I said, Maharaj, you're making me touch this word, this verse. Realize it live. He said, yes, this is a process. Krishna is giving tech. And when I asked him, what is the niti, what is the etiquette with the siksa-guru, he said, no, don't start to see me as anyone special. You were praying to Prabhupada for help, and he has asked me to take care of you. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm praying to Prabhupada in my heart. I don't even know if he listens to me, but he has told this person to take care of me. I thought, anyone can say whatever they want about him. No one can take away this realization that he's giving me. And I found the same thing with Srila Narayana. He could read your mind like an open book. And he told me, why don't you come and see me in England? I'm going for the first time in the West. So I went to see him in England, like I told you before. And I remember one time we were chanting our rounds on some garages in Watford. There was a devotee there who welcomed us. And then I was thinking, okay, let's say we develop a siksha relationship. So I approached him and said, oh, Maharaj, let's say we develop a siksha relationship. So I already have a service for Prabhupada, a service for Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. So how can I serve you? And he told me like tit for tat. He said, you're a preacher, right? So what do you think? Why do you think I would ask you something else? And I thought, how does he know I'm a preacher? We only met one time in India before. How does he know I'm a preacher? And then he told me, like right in my face, let me tell you, you think that if you serve Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada is pleased. And if you serve Prabhupada, Srila Gour Govinda is pleased, right? Let me tell you, if you serve me, Srila Prabhupada will be pleased, Srila Gour Govinda will be pleased. Right in your face, no gloves, no false humility, just bare, laying the things bare like that. And I developed that siksha relationship with him. He came twice in my house when I was a householder. It was like wonderful. He was always available for everyone, even in a crowd. He would have like a gesture, a smile, a glance for everyone. Like even there was 700 people, 1,000 people. Everyone felt that he was nourished like that. And he was teaching high things. Some people say, oh, Prabhupada only gave ABC. That's not a fact. I had to hear that. Some people, some other Gaudiya might say like that. No, Prabhupada gave everything, but we could not receive everything. Something he did not develop because we, the audience, were not qualified for that. But everything is in his books. And Srila Gour Govinda Narayana used to say like that. No, everything is in Prabhupada's books, but it's under lock and key, and the key is with a sadhu. So unless you approach a sadhu, there's many things you don't have access to. Your reading will not give you access to those things. Like Srila Gour Govinda used to say, that was his first teaching. There's two considerations, apparent consideration and absolute consideration. It's called in Sanskrit apara vichar and tattva vichar. Something that you read in surface, but you don't have access to the deep meaning, which is only coming, from a sadhu who has realized it and who can explain it. So he was giving the example, for instance, in the Puranas it is mentioned, Agastya Muni, he dried up the ocean and he collected jewels at the bottom of the ocean. So if you read this, you're thinking, wow, powerful yogi, wow, he could dry up the ocean. And he collected some gems at the bottom. Wow. And you may start to, fancy, wow, it'd be nice if the ocean would dry and all the gold from the galleons coming back from Peru with sank with all that gold. We could use it to make so many temples and print so many books. But that's not what it means. No, this is apparent consideration. The tattva is that Agastya Muni, by the power of his bhakti, he dried up the ocean of material existence for himself. And he collected the jewel of Krishna praying. That is the meaning. But if you don't have someone who's explaining it, then you don't have access to that. And both Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj and Srila Narayana Maharaj, because they were self-realized souls, they had access to that, and they could not pull from Prabhupada's purport gems that we could not find ourselves. I remember Srila Govinda it's like he would put his hand in a purport, like you put your hand in some vault, and he would come and say, oh, here's one beautiful gem. And he would explain it, and then he would put his hand and take another one. And Srila Narayana was also expert to do that. And if somebody, was criticizing that, he's speaking on those high topics, who is qualified for that? He himself said that one of his siksa-guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, the governor of Prabhupada, was a very rasik, very high soul. He told him, this knowledge is a wealth of our parampara. Usually we never speak about it, or maybe some old sannyasis behind closed doors, but never in public, never in general classes. But you must speak those things, otherwise you will be lost. So he has even written in one of his magazines, The Harmonist, that at the risk of being criticized by everyone, I am speaking those things because I received the order of one of my siksa-gurus, like that.
Thank you, Maharaj. And later on in 2008, you were awarded the Order of Sannyas. I'm guessing by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about that.
Oh, it was in Italy. One devotee asked some questions, and then he didn't know Srila Narayana Maharaj. He said, well, let's go and ask him. So we went. The wife came along. And then it was towards the end of the darshan, they said, okay, everyone go. Srila Gurudev has to take his breakfast or his lunch, whatever. His secretary was taking everyone out. And just at that time, Srila Maharaj said, it's like, by the way, I want to give you sannyas. And I said, who, me? It's like I looked behind, He said, yes, you. And then he asked, is your wife in the room? And then he spotted her and he started to preach to her. Look, you had him for 22 years. I need him. He will preach for Prabhupada, for Srila Gour Govinda, for myself, for himself. Can you give me permission? And just to be a good girl, good wife, and good disciple, she said yes. Then he told me, okay, when you go home, just take a bag, put a few clothes in it, and then come. And I did that. I came, he told me to travel with Srila Bhaktivedanta Padmanabha Maharaj, one of the senior Prabhupada disciple, one was the first one to take sannyas from Srila Narayana Maharaj. So I traveled with him in Finland and Russia. And then the wife wrote that I'm not ready to take this big step. I said yes, but I don't know if I'm ready. So Srila Narayana Maharaj told me, okay, just wait a few years. No, once she'll be more ready, then you can do. That's why I waited like 4 years. After 4 years, he gave me sannyasa. After 4 years, he was going to fire sacrifice to give, to initiate sannyasi. And he told me, why are you not sitting there with them? I said, but you told me to wait. I'm just waiting for your order. Okay, he said, okay, next year. And next year, in Mayapur, he awarded me sannyas. And I was thinking, sannyasi, a Frenchman, because Frenchman means, sense enjoyer, right? No. So sannyas and French is like the antipode, no, completely opposed. And I was thinking, and I told him, but Gurudev, I'm French. No, look, my heart. He said, nothing special. No, I will help you. I said, okay, if he helps me, all right. And then I can say that it was not always easy. I had a beautiful wife. I had a big estate, children. I had a whole tribe. I didn't anyone to acute them because all the kids from small, they were playing katas, harmonium, mridanga. And all the programs anywhere were in our house. And so it was not so easy, to leave that behind. I'm pretty much a family man, and but no, that was his order, and I always thought that one day I will take sannyas because Prabhupada said, after 50, supposed to take sannyas. So I thought but I was thinking this will come much later. No, I'll be 72 this year, and I was thinking, okay, around 70 maybe I can take. But no, he wanted that. Actually, when he came to our house, he gave a lecture, and in the lecture he said, I'm still looking for a few sannyasis. And after the lecture, my wife freaked out. He said, he was thinking about you. I said, no, don't worry. Me, come on, I'm attached. I'm attached, I am. But the next year again, he said, okay, I want to give you sannyas. And I can say that, of course, I was always preaching, even as a householder. I never stopped thinking, oh, no, I'm a householder. I don't have to preach anymore. No, because Prabhupada inoculated us with a preaching virus, I can say. We knew if you want to please Prabhupada, just preach. There's no question, it's not a mystery. Preach on the basis of his books. Distribute books and preach. You cannot go wrong if you do that, right? If you want to please, Prabhupada said, if you want to please me, just distribute my books. It's like a mantra, right? So, but I have to say that as a sannyasi, of course, I could it's like in the words of Venkanath Maharaj, one of my godbrother, who is also from America and then also a sannyas disciple of Srila Narayana Maharaj, he said, Srila Narayana Maharaj extracted from me much more service than I could have ever given as a householder. So I fully subscribe to that, because as a sannyasi, it's like, you fully dedicated, you have no other business, no other duty except to share, study, write books, and share the knowledge you've received, share the blessings, share the love, like they say in America.
Thank you for sharing that, Maharaj. I really do appreciate it. And I was just thinking, I mean, I was going to ask you about the order of sannyas in terms of my question actually doesn't make sense, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is it like being a sannyasi, a Western-bodied sannyasi, um, that's maybe independent from a bigger group like ISKCON? Now, you might not know the answer to that because you're not a sannyasi in ISKCON, but I'm just trying to, so what is it like being a sannyas disciple of Narayana Maharaj and having to really connect with devotees around the world? In effect, what is it like being a sannyas disciple of Narayana Maharaj?
Well, in ISKCON, there's, like you said at the beginning, it may be, sometimes quite authoritarian, right? On the other hand, I appreciate that, because of the high rate of fall down, already so many years ago, they have made it, more difficult to take sannyas. You have to be over 50. Usually that's, more or less a rule. And you have to be on a waiting list, and then you have to, prove yourself as a preacher, as a leader of men, like that. In Srila Narayana's Sangha, I mean, I remember he told us in Italy back in 2008. as sannyasis, you can travel everywhere as you like, but I would like you to concentrate on one zone so that you can develop the preaching in a particular zone. But he completely left it to us, without any pressure. You have to go here. There's no GBC in Gaudiya Math. And right now, so unfortunately, after his departure, there's been some kind of divisions. Quite a few splinter groups have known. There's not anymore a big general sangha, but it has split in so many groups. And then I was, for instance, myself for 13 years following Srila Madhusudan Maharaj. He's a disciple of Srila Maharaj by sannyas. Otherwise, he's a disciple of that same Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who was a siksa-guru of Narayana. He took diksa from him when he was quite young. So I've been with him for 13 years. And after I got into a big conflict with one of the sannyasis here from Australia. And then so I'm not anymore connected with that. But we were just preaching all over the world. And because Srila Narayana Maharaj, just a couple of years before he left, he started to tell us that he wanted us to start to accept our own disciples, to continue the line. And because he had always set such a high standard for sannyas, so we argued with him, I could say tooth and nail, every word. But he insisted that, said, no, you have to. And I remember in Italy, I asked him the question, there was a whole darshan about that, after he leaves. And I asked, what is there's no Bhagavat after you? He said, oh, Madhyam is available everywhere. I said, everywhere? He said, yes, you can start. Nemi Maharaj, Padma Maharaj, you can start. I said, why are you cheating me? And he looked at me with his two blue eyes that could scan you to the soul, He said, look, you'll have to do it sooner or later, so better you start now. But I told him, oh, double cheating now. And I was thinking, oh, I'll never do that. But many years later, Madhusudan Maharaj told me, oh, Gurudev told you to accept this, but you should start. So I started maybe in 2012 or 13. I was very reluctant. I said, oh, what is that? Okay, the order, okay, but you don't have to follow the order right away. I felt utterly unqualified. But Srila Maharaj said, I have faith that, if you start to accept your own disciple, then later on you meet a higher level sadhu, then you will take your disciples to him. So I didn't want to start doing that unless I knew such a sadhu. And I considered Srila Madhusudan Maharaj such a high level sadhu. And I would send him, I would preach because he was not preaching outside of India. So I would preach mostly in Russia and then Latin America. And I would send my students to him. After some time, actually, I would only give Harinam, and then he would give Gopal Mantra or Diksa. And I would not give Diksha anymore. So I felt like, okay, in this way, the initiation is complete because the Guru has to be on a very high level. Otherwise, he cannot give everything which a disciple is entitled to receive. Of course, you can say, you purchase a Guru according to your level of Sukriti. And then you may be sincere. If you don't have enough Sukriti, you may not have a very high level Guru. But if you follow sincerely, you accumulate that Sukriti, and we see now thousands of people starting with the ISKCON Guru, fallen or not, and then later on approaching Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj, Srila Narayana Maharaj. Srila Gour Govinda had this Siksha disciple of 30 ISKCON Gurus, plus some Prabhupada disciples. And Srila Narayana Maharaj has initiated thousands and thousands of people who had lost faith in the ISKCON Guru, either because they fell down or because they didn't think that they would receive what they were supposed to receive. So usually there's no question of rejection or question of reinitiation, but taking Siksha. Usually the etiquette is you ask permission from your Diksha Guru that you want to take Siksha from a higher level sadhu. And any Vaishnava would of course agree, thankful that, someone can help me to take care of my students. So there's no question of a sense of proprietorship. Actually, Srila Maharaj one time wrote, in introduction to his Mana Siksha, commentary that if someone wants to be a guru or he thinks he's a guru, then the first U of the word guru goes and is replaced by O, Goru. Goru means a cow. If you want to be a guru or if you think you're a guru, you're a cow. Guru never thinks he's guru. No. Like Srila Gour Govinda used to say, that order of Mahaprabhu to become a guru has not come to me. It has come to my guru, and I'm training men for his seva. And then I always try to imbibe that mood of him, that he's asking, do you have disciples? I don't have any disciples. I have students that I'm training for service, but I don't consider myself a guru. Guru is such a high thing. I have written a whole book on Guru Tattva, and it almost got me killed in Mayapur in '94 when I published it. And I had to surrender all the magazines, and they gave it back to me when I left. But no, they got the order to leave me with my breath. No, that was how bad it was. No, so I published it on Amazon with a few other books I have written along the time.
And Maharaj, you talked about going to Russia and Latin America, and as I mentioned already, I can tell by your social media activities that you're very busy with traveling. Can you tell us a bit about your some of the projects that you're involved with and your students and some of the places that you regularly travel to?
Well, I was traveling to Russia for many years. Then the COVID came, so I have not been. Then afterwards, I was locked with the cow and everything, and then so I have not been there for 6 years now, or maybe 7 years even. But I am preaching in Turkey, which is a very big Russian-speaking community. For the last 2 years, I've been there. And then we have quite a nice core group of maybe 15 new people, new devotees I initiated in the last 2 years. And I was just there recently with Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, an old disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj that I have started to associate with a year ago. And I brought him to Turkey. Everyone was enchanted. And then also brought him to France. So he just left last week, last Monday. And he was for a week or so in France. Everyone loved it now. So I've been preaching there now for 2 years. This is really my field. And then Peru also, I have not gone for a long time. Also the same thing with COVID and the cows. And I went recently, I spent a month there also. And I have 2 preaching projects, one in Lima and one in a sacred valley, which is next to Cusco and the famous Machu Picchu. There's a lot of open-minded people there. So I was just there recently. So basically, I used to go to Brazil for many years, and I thought they were a little superficial. And there was also some politics. So I hate politics. And then I started to go to Peru. I have been since about 10 years or more, 12 years, 13 years, maybe the first time. And this is most of my students are in Peru, some in Mexico also, a few in Mexico. Usually when I go to Peru, I go to Mexico also. And then Russia, and then Russians in Turkey. I don't have so many students. I have maybe 250 more or less people initiated.
I've seen the photos from Turkey online, and it's quite impressive. In Antalya, I think it's Antalya, isn't it?
Yeah, Alanya and Antalya, yes.
Yeah, and just to see, so I saw you in the room in the kind of conference center, I think it was, and there were so many Western people.
Yes, all Russians and Ukrainians. There's a huge community. I mean, you go in the street in Alanya, you see all the car plates, from Ukraine and Russia, and also some people from Kazakhstan, and I mean, all Russian speaking. I don't have any Turkish students. Only one is a father is Turkish, but mother is Russian.
Wow, wow. And in terms of keeping in contact with your students, do you do weekly Zoom classes and connect with them online?
Once a week, like usually on Saturday, I give a Spanish class, in Spanish, And then on Sunday, I give a class in English, Russian, with a translator, because I don't master Russian enough. I mean, I can speak Russian, but not enough to give like a big philosophy class, because the vocabulary is like Russian for French after Chinese is the most difficult language to learn. But I really wanted to learn because I hate not being able to communicate with people. I always have to have recourse to a translator. I hate that. That's why I learned Spanish. Spanish is easy for French. We have Latin roots, which are similar. So I speak fluently Spanish. I learned, traveling, but Russian still, no, it's laborious.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Maharaj. You've mentioned already that you've written some books. I have seen I think on Amazon you've written a number of books.
Yeah,
Um,
I've six books in English, and then I made some. We translated two of them in Russian, and because people don't read so much anymore, two of them I've divided into smaller booklets, so they're already printed in Russian. In
wow.
France, because I write in English, now I have to translate into French. So four small booklets, also extract of that book, I have put in French on the French Amazon France. Like basic stuff. What is Vedic culture? What is the source of suffering? Know thyself. Science of the self, like that. The veils of illusion. That's the French booklets. And in English, the first one I wrote was about Guru Tattva, because Srila Gour Govinda was speaking a lot of Guru Tattva. And when we asked him why, he said, because this is the basis. The first of the 64 items of Bhakti delineated by Srila Rupa Goswami. The first one is Ado Guru Pada Ashraya. You have to take shelter of a guru. Then receive siksha from him, then receive diksa from him. Then Vishwambhena Guru Seva, serve him intimately, like a family member with great feeling of affection. So this is the basis. And Guru Tattva in ISKCON has been a source of confusion for day one. I mean, since Prabhupada, as soon as Prabhupada left, huge confusion has been there. The 11 who claimed that they were appointed by Prabhupada, until so many of them said, actually, we were not appointed by Prabhupada. Tamakrishna Maharaj told me personally, when I was in Texas with him for 4 years, that Prabhupada never made them gurus, that they thought it was the right thing to do, some ambition was there. And he even said that I hope the devotees will be able to forgive us. This is the greatest disservice we could do to ISKCON, he said like that. And I mean, 70%, I mean, it's like terrible. 75% of ISKCON's gurus have fallen. I mean, 5%, okay, Westerners, but 75%, something is really going wrong. They claim that they received the order. They didn't receive the order. They appointed others, but it doesn't seem to work. Also, there is one axiom. This is something I always share with ISKCON audience, because they may not be familiar with it. That there is a spiritual axiom that Prabhupada quoted from Srila Saraswati Thakur. You cannot go from one adhikar to the next without association with a living Uttamadhikari. It means you cannot go from Kanishta to Madhyam or Madhyam to Uttam. And if you offend a saint, you also degrade to the lower adhikar. Let's say you came to Madhyam, but you offended Mahabhagavat. You go back to Kanishta. And if you were Kanishta and you offend, then you go to less than Kanishta. So if you apply that, you can ask, when did the ISKCON gurus associate with the Mahabhagavat, except when they were young with Prabhupada? No. And then that didn't fare very well, given the number of the 11 who fell down, right? So after that, some of them went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and they rejected him when he disagreed with them. Some of them came to Narayana Maharaj, and he rejected him when the DVC gives them the ultimatum that either you stay with Narayana Maharaj, but you cannot be gurus in ISKCON, or you stay gurus in ISKCON, but you cannot associate with him anymore. So they all left him. So what does it speak about their capacity to discriminate? One of my godbrothers, Kundali Das, he wrote a book long ago, I think, or Mission or something like that, long ago. I think he left his body some time back. But he made like a catch-22. He said, if Narayana Maharaj was not bona fide, but the top ISKCON leaders, gurus, approached him and followed him for 10 years, what does it speak about their qualification? And if he was bona fide, but they rejected it, what does it speak about their qualification? It's like a catch-22. Damn if you do, damn if you don't, right? Something like that. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs. I think the greatest problem, in ISKCON, I don't say our movement anymore, although I still somewhat identify, because I've been 23 years in ISKCON and 28 outside of ISKCON in Gaudiya Math. But I think the problem is that lack of association with sadhus, thinking that we don't need to have association outside, and using Prabhupada's warning, don't associate with my god brothers, because some of them couldn't understand Prabhupada's greatness. And there were some offense, like reinitiating some of Prabhupada's disciples, or making obstacles to Prabhupada acquiring land in Mayapur for the Chandrodaya Mandir. Some of them really didn't understand Prabhupada, so they had like a very mundane vision of him. So because of that, Prabhupada had to tell his young devotees better not to associate with them. They cannot help. No, they can confuse. But the last instruction said, no, the war is over. We have to cooperate with Gaudiya Math. They never quote that one. They always quote the earlier ones, that don't associate with Gaudiya Math. We have nothing to do with them. Anyway, Gaudiya Math is finished. Prabhupada made a reset. Gaudiya Math is useless. Even in a new devotee, manual, ISKCON manual for new devotees, they criticize Gaudiya Math. They said, you cannot take guru outside ISKCON. It's like a law. And it cuts people from associating with higher level sadhus. Because, of course, Prabhupada never made any discrimination based on the body. But still, as Westerners, we carry very heavy material samskars that Indians in general don't have, although they also have problems. Some of them also had fall downs, but in such a less percentage, like there's no comparison. How many Indian gurus fell down compared to how many Westerners? It's like there's night and day. So as Westerners, we have samskars, very heavy material samskars, which make it quite difficult for us to raise to higher levels. Srila Narayana used to say, I pray Krishna all the time that in this life you'll come to Nishta or Ruchi, means you'll be able to enter Madhyam Adhikar. Whereas in ISKCON for years they said all the gurus are Uttama Adhikaris. When so many so-called Uttama fell down, they say, everyone is Madhyam. When so many Madhyams fell down, they say, they don't say anything anymore. No, to be a guru in ISKCON, there should be no objection in the zone where you're operating. And there should not be any record of moral turpitude or fall down like that. But the new people, they think that those people who are in the position of guru, they are approved by the institution. Actually, they're not. The GBC is washing his hands completely. They don't rubber stamp anyone as anything. Just that it's up to you. But young people don't know that. And we see practically every year a big shot, falling down. When I heard Giriraj Maharaj recently, I said, oh my God, no. He's old as he. He's older than me. And having an affair with a woman, falling down with a woman. And his disciple says, no, actually, he's senile, trying to... just because they don't have association with a living sadhu. Srila Maharaj used to say, if you're a small capitalist, you should have the backup of a greater capitalist than you to go into business. So in the same way, say, if you accept disciples, you should have the backup of a saint behind you, that gives you shelter. Otherwise, quite risky. All the trappings coming with the position of guru. He said, guru is like more absolute monarchy, and then you can go nuts. It can go to your head, all the worship, all the affection, all the donations, all the puja and pratishta. If you're not careful, this can be deadly. It can turn into poison instead of nectar. If you forget that every time you receive a garland, you only receive a garland because you're a representative of your guru, not because you're such a saint. No, and if you no start to think that no, yeah, I got it made, yeah, I'm on top of the food chain, quite dangerous. And we saw it's not just one or two. So many of our god brothers, unfortunately, have fallen.
Mm.
No.
Mm. Do you have any contact, or do you keep in contact with any sannyasis or gurus in ISKCON?
I have a good friendship with Indradyumna Maharaj because he's the first one who preached to me. And then regularly, we meet, in India. It's always we embrace. We're very happy to meet each other. And he writes me regularly. Last time he wrote me, "Oh, please pray for me," just like I'm praying for you. No. So he's a very simple person, not political at all. I mean, he's very loyal. When I met him the last time, in Vrindavan, uh, I introduced him that, oh, he's from ISKCON, but he's different. He said, loyal but independent. So he's doing his own thing. No. And then, no, when people were accusing him, or no, because some pictures was with some little girl, because just daughters of his disciples, that I imagine. Some people made some derogatory comments, oh, this is pedophilia, come on. I know. And I wrote in his defense, I said, come on, no. I know Maharaj from day one. He was married, had family life. He was always detached. So don't tell me that no, he has some unholy affection for a little child. Come on.
Mm.
So that's basically it's like the one person I have a connection with, because if you're from Gaudiya, usually you're not very welcome.
Mm.
Like I was a temple president in New Mayapur in France before I left and now if I come back, no, I can't even lead a kid or give a class. It's like Gaudiya Math, or the guy with the beard from Gaudiya Math, or what
Yeah,
to
that was
do?
going to be a question that I was going to put to you. You know, how are you received in ISKCON circles, if you are
Well,
received at all?
when I used to live next to New Mayapur, like 25 kilometers, I would go to visit for Janmashtami if I were there, for festival days, just to take darshan and see some old friends or godbrothers. At first, they were saying, "Oh, you can only stay for half an hour." Then they became a little more lax. And then the last time, the one sannyasi was there, Dhanananda Maharaj, I think he's from England.
Mm. Mm.
He has initiated a few people. He's trying to resurrect, the French yatra, which is pretty much in shambles. And he told me, Maharaj, no, you gave your life to Prabhupada, no problem. No, I wanted to buy something, take the books, just. And I gave many books, or I gave money to save New Mayapur, because I always felt, this is where, I spent years of my life, serving Prabhupada. And also I'm not welcome anymore. I think it's a pity. I think I have a contribution. My contribution is not wanted. Therefore, no. The Muslim, they say, close the door, which brings you wind. So I don't go. I go to Krishna Balaram temple in ISKCON in Vrindavan. Whenever I'm there, to take, to go Prabhupada Samadhi and see that most amazing, Radha deity, Radha Shama Sundar. She must be one of the most beautiful deities now in the world. I consider Radha Parishwar, and then when I was vice president in Montreal back in the 80, mid 80s, there's this Radha Manohar, which also stunning beauty, and then Radha Shama Sundar in Vrindavan. For me, these are the three most beautiful Radha Krishna deities in the world. I hope I don't offend you, about Radha London Ishwar. Or
Well, no, I'm not offended at all. I don't get offended much these days, but that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Maharaj. And I guess I've always been intrigued about how our sannyasis outside of ISKCON. I actually don't like the term outside of ISKCON, but how are sannyasis that are not ISKCON sannyasis, how are they received? And you've given the answer that I thought that you would give, which is not very well. um,
I guess it depends where. For instance, I was in Miami just a few weeks ago, and then devotees there were very respectful. You know, the Pujari gave me the garland, you know, and Mahaprasad. And I mean, the temple was completely empty except the Russian Pujari, and I spoke with him in Russian, so I guess he was pleased. And it's all Maharaj. But otherwise, I never visit their temples. I mean, why, you know, put people on the defensive? Why, you know, make people feel uneasy or something? Because, you know, I know that, you know, they're very afraid that we, you know, seduce away their followers. They were always so much, you know, afraid that Narayana Maharaj would come, and so many people were attracted to him, so they would lose manpower and monies. Unfortunately, you know, that's the case. But what to do, you know? And maybe some of our people were maybe overzealous in trying to share the mercy and then trying to lure away. I mean, there's always some people who give a bad name to any institution by their lack of finesse. And no, you're not supposed to go and then try to steal, like they were saying, or steal away people. You know, there's no. I don't approve of that overzealousness. You know. I hate when I hear ISKCON being criticized, because I was 23 years in ISKCON. I tried for so many years to try to reform it from inside. I risked my life doing that with that Guru Tattva paper back in '94 in Mayapur. And but I always feel like, no, we are brothers or cousins, or I'm uncle to so many nephews there. And I wish that, no, there wouldn't be those barriers, but I think we have to agree it's like a divorce. Divorce is painful, but you have to go on, you know. We tried for so many years to patch up, you know, there was a whole group of devotees, you know, dedicated to that. And there was a meeting with Srila Narayana Maharaj, you know, I think 2009, with a few GBC members. The Indians were very open, and, you know, the Americans were against. And then they said, okay, we will report to the general GBC. And that year, 2010, if I'm not mistaken, the GBC wrote a 40-page letter saying that there was never any relationship between Prabhupada and Srila Narayana Maharaj, and Narayana Maharaj completely made it up. So at that time, we decided, okay, no more time to waste. They just don't want, any relationship. They're too afraid to lose their people. What to do? It's understandable, but it's unfortunate that politics crept in, a transcendental movement.
Mm. Well, this is the Kali Yuga that we find ourselves in. There's division and envy and jealousy everywhere.
Yeah, we saw Gaudiya exploded after Saraswati Thakur left, and still so many branches are there. And even, like I mentioned before, in Srila Narayana's camp, there has been so many divisions. They split recently between the mats. There were some politics, and I want to stay away from that. I'll be 72 this summer. I don't know how many years I have left, maybe 85, I think. My horoscope was, I made it when I was a brahmachari, was Ashutosh Ojha. He was like, everyone was going to him. He was like a famous astrologer in Delhi. And he had published many, many books of vulgarization of astrology and palmistry. And I think my chart stopped when I was at 85.
Okay.
So I don't have so much on my hands, so I don't want to lose time in politics. As long as I can travel, I'll travel to preach and share.
Thank you, Maharaj. The next question that I have for you is a question that I only reserve for sannyasis.
Okay.
It's a special question because we've got an audience here now of thousands of people watching and listening to this podcast. And the question is, if you were given 5 minutes to broadcast a live message to the world on every TV and radio station, what would you say?
Wow. 5 minutes broadcast.
The whole world's listening to you. You've got 5 minutes. What's the message you're going to share?
I would say, brothers and sisters, we're in trouble. We are eternal souls in a material body. We've been suffering from time immemorial because of misidentification with the body. Our desire to be happy is quite legitimate because it's the nature of the soul to be happy. In Sanskrit, we say Satchit Ananda. So now we are conscious that we exist, but what do we exist for? For happiness, the third aspect of consciousness, Ananda. But no, there's nothing wrong with the search for happiness. The problem is that we're looking for happiness in all the wrong places. So happiness is there, in the relationship with God. We forgot and neglected that relationship. Therefore, we are in this world and we are rotating from time immemorial in a cycle of birth and death. The only way out is connecting again, with God. And he has made it very easy in this age, through the chanting of his name. We don't have to perform big austerities, big sacrifices, very pompous temple worship like in previous ages, because we're not able to do that. We don't have the mind, which is qualified to silent meditation. We cannot concentrate our mind like a laser. So, God has made it very easy by chanting his name in the form of mantra. Mantra is something very powerful. There's a power which is released when you hear or when you sing that mantra. That power is elevating your consciousness from the body level to the soul level. And naturally, you feel happy. Anyone who tries, whether in the intimacy of their own house or in a group, to recite this mantra, we recite it on meditation beads, or otherwise we sing it with musical instruments. It's very joyful. And then you find a higher taste. That higher taste is what we're always looking for through all our endeavors for happiness. I mean, from morning to evening, we only want one thing. Everything we do is search for satisfaction. But logic is there to tell us everything in this world is subjected to the time factor. Meaning, if you source your happiness from a temporary source, that happiness will stop in time. It's just a matter of time. Now, everything is material here, but we are our spiritual nature. Everything is temporary here, we are our eternal nature. So the only way we can solve all the problems plaguing us is by connecting again with God on the individual level and collective level. Otherwise, we can have all the commissions we want, United Nations and God who knows what. It doesn't work. I mean, problems are just compounding each other because we don't understand that the root of every problem is a spiritual disease condition. We are souls, but now we are what we call conditioned souls. Means we're subjected to the illusion power of material energy which surrounds us. And she has a tremendous power of illusion on us. The only way to be free from that illusion is to connect with the source. That source is God. And through the chanting of his name in the form of that mantra, and that mantra, there's hundreds of mantras in the Vedic literature, the sacred literature of India. And that mantra is called Maha Mantra, the most powerful one. It has the power to still the mind, to give some higher satisfaction, and moreover, to reestablish your lost relationship with God and to make you develop your dormant love for him.
Thank you, Maharaj. I really loved your concise answer. I wasn't actually timing you, but it was certainly fitted into 5 minutes.
Oh,
And
did you? I was also
yeah,
wondering.
and you summed it up so nicely. It's wonderful. Thank you for that. We have been talking for about an hour and a half, believe it or not,
Oh,
already.
really?
Time goes quickly. Um, is there anything else you particularly want to share? Anything that's on your mind or on your heart you'd like to share with our audience? Because it's been a huge blessing to us to have a sannyasi on the podcast. Is there anything else you particularly want to talk about today?
Well, I have been the householder for many years. I was married twice. My first wife didn't want to be a devotee anymore, so she left with two small kids, and I married again. And so I'm quite aware of the challenges to pursue Krishna consciousness in family life. Now, what I did in my household, as a rule every day without fail is every evening when everything was done, whether the homework of the kids or dinner, it would go to the little room, like we call it the temple room. And there I had made some big boards with all the main bhajans, and also composed on the same tune and the same number of feet, the same bhajan in French, so that my kids would learn what they were singing. So we would sing like Bengali or Sanskrit or Hindi and then French, like that. And then every evening we would do that. We just go in the temple room and just sing, an hour, sometimes more. All my household life, I have carried my children, fallen asleep by order of age. The babies, the little girl, the little boy, like that, in their bed, because they were just, I would sing until, the first thing they would see in the morning was daddy sitting down chanting his rounds. The last thing they would see in the evening, daddy is playing the harmonium, chanting Hare Krishna or some other bhajan. So that discipline, I know we held always. I had a wife who agreed to live a simple life and was very dedicated, very good mother. She made homeschooling for so many years. My eldest son in New Zealand, that I will see soon, is also doing the same, homeschooling. And he was raised like that. He's following that. I have another son who is a good kirtaniya, Raj Mohan. He was recently in Glastonbury for a few months. Maybe you heard his kirtan. He's quite famous in the kirtan world, Raj Mohan. And so I raised them like that. Maybe insight is always perfect. Maybe I did not take enough time for them, because at that time in ISKCON there was such an anti-family propaganda. Just serve Krishna. If you serve Krishna, everything is taken care of. So if I look back, maybe I did not give them enough time and attention, but they all grew up pretty balanced individuals, and then they're all following the path, some more than others. So I would say put Krishna in the center of the house. I mean, it's a classic, but don't put the bed or the TV in the center of the house. Put Krishna, put the altar. Have a program every evening, even if it's just short. Every evening, chant, sing with your family members. Like the Christians say, a family who prays together is a family who stays together. And I think that's very important, because so many dysfunctional family, not only in the society at large, but movement too. So many split families, so many kids grow single parent household, and that's really damageable for them. So I know it is a challenge. I always try not to put Krishna in the center, but I had regular activities. My last job was a financial consultant for AXA. So I could but every day, no fail, 16 rounds, and in the evening, a program with the whole family.
That's wonderful. And actually, Maharaj, that's a great way to kind of end our conversation today. We've ended on a really positive note, and you've talked about, you've had so many experiences in your life, not just in the sannyas ashram, but as a grihasta as well. And I'm pleased to hear that your children, are all still following Krishna consciousness to different degrees or different levels.
Some are more intense, like some of my daughters, they live abroad. When they come, when they're with their mom, they chant, they go to the temple, they know all the bhajans and everything. No, they may not chant rounds, when they're at home, for instance. No, but somehow they all connected with Krishna. They love Krishna, and then some of them are more serious, more deeply committed. Like my oldest boy, who was born in Dallas, Texas. He's a full-on devotee. Raj Mohan, full-on chanting, doing kirtan all over the world. And yes, they all have those sanskars. Even my daughter from her first marriage, was not raised as a devotee. A few years ago, she just moved next to the temple, and then she, asked me recently if I had a harmonium. I brought an harmonium back for her, from India, and she's enchanted. And every day she's playing, or she's doing 1 hour of bhajan. And I thought, well, no, I don't know if she'll ever take up Krishna Bhakti again in this life, but no, we never know. Sanskars are there, and then adolescents, there may be some very, sometimes very unpleasant, but we have to try to give them unconditional love as much as we can, tolerate their, sometimes not so nice behavior, thinking that we were the same with our parents. If I think back, my poor mom, I was preaching of Buddhism, Hare Krishna, when she's a devout Catholic. I mean, I was not a gift for her, really. But later on, I thanked her that she inculcated to us, Christian bhakti to Jesus and Mary. So it was easier for me to be a devotee because that idea of devotion was already there, implanted by her from childhood.
Mm.
We also had prayer every evening when I was a kid, in our house. She was very, very devout Catholic. She left the same months and same year than Srila Narayana. And they met, actually. She came one time, and then she she thanked him for coming. She spoke English. I didn't even know. I never heard my mother speak English. And suddenly she came. I was translating a lecture. She didn't know. I was thinking, oh, Mom, don't make a scandal because she's so Christian. And she walked up to him in broken French, broken English. She said, oh, thank you very much. I know you are a very holy person. Welcome in our humble house. And I was pinching myself, Mom, is it for real? And Maharaj asked her, is that your son? She said, yes. And he asked her, how old are you? She was taken aback with old aristocratic French woman. You don't ask that kind of question. She said, 83. She said, well, I'm 80. So please also consider me as your son. Wow. And she had no tears coming to her eyes. I said, which better words could you have found to touch the heart of such person? I mean, I was just amazed. I said, I'm dreaming.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Maharaj. That's a wonderful story. And I was going to say earlier that I think it's great that your children are still practicing Krishna consciousness, just different degrees or levels. And that's a great testament to you and your commitment to being a father.
They were raised, in association. They all came. I mean, the one with the good kirtaniya, Raj Mohan, he was sucking the big toe of Gour Govinda Maharaj as a baby. I remember playing on his shoes, and sucking his big toe. And now he's amazing kirtaniya. So, I mean, they all had good samskars. Afterwards, what they do in life with them, that's another story. Because a golden opportunity is only a golden opportunity. That's what you do with it.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time today.
Well, I'm grateful you gave me a chance to share something.
No worries. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone at home, and then if you stay on Zoom after, we can have a bit of a debrief. So
Okay.
don't run away, don't run away. But I'm incredibly grateful to His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Suddhadvaiti Swami Maharaj for being our guest this week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time available, because I can see from your Facebook page that you're traveling a lot and you're going from country to country. So I'm pleased that we found this date and this time. So thank you for today.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. And every now and then we do have a sannyasi on the podcast, and it's been a delight to welcome Maharaj today. Okay, so to everyone listening at home and watching at home, do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you haven't already, please do like or follow the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page so you can be kept updated about future podcasts and video productions from the Hare Krishna Project. Okay, so until next week, I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Hare Krishna.